tomorrow.
All this trouble over a tablet of fucking stone. If my company's standing wasn't on the line, I would have written this one off as a loss already.
She again. Well, we met her in front of Archimed's mansion. She set us on a quest to find the stone lab from inside the vault of Archimed.
Your battles break your swords.
Imperial Command. Air around the coral thrums with life-sustaining magic. They lower. The border me. A young woman with a bright white smile and eyes to match raises her hand and gives you a quick but enthusiastic wave. Then, with an exaggerated look of embarrassment, she stops herself and crosses her forearms over her chest.
I always forget that part. Say, you're the Watcher of Cadnua, aren't you? I've never met anyone famous before. Except the Hazanui. She yells at me sometimes.
Her grin widens impossibly. The Hazanui yells at you.
Oh, all the time.
She screws her face up into a look of mock seriousness. Still, she can't keep from smiling.
Where's my white leaf? Stop daydreaming. So bore me, if you lose the ledgers again, I'll have you clean the latrines.
At this last comment, she leans close, her eyes wide and voice low with awe.
All this time, I didn't realize she knew my name.
Are you always this excitable?
It's just, this is my first time away from the rough country.
The rough country. An affectionate Rhotian term for the homeland. Rough refers to both the unyielding rocky soils and the storms that batter the mainland.
I'd heard there were thick, green forests and sandy beaches without a storm in sight, but I never imagined this.
She shakes her head in wonderment.
You must have traveled lots, seen all sorts of amazing places.
The Bormy folds her hands under her chin, watching you intently. Why does this interest you so much?
I love Rawatai, but it's hard to go a week without seeing storms, or hearing about mudslides burying a village somewhere.
Her buoyant expression sags, but only for a moment. You're the quartermaster. Can you sell me something? Her face scrunches up in disappointment.
I really wish I could, but my supplies are for the Royal Deadfire Company and our allies. Hazanui's orders. Maybe if you impress her or Atsura, they could make an exception.
She smiles, hopefully.
I've got it.
A doggo.
On it. you?
Game of the tower is in pro. Flag below the coral reads, piece of raw tie for Deadfire. Compliments of Coral Mason Rua. In glory, your Ranganui. Azanui Karu paces near her desk, looking like a shark circling the shallows. She clenches a long, elegant pipe between her teeth, the smoke trailing an acrid wake behind her. She looks up when you enter and favors you with a brief nod of acknowledgement.
The former Lord of Cadnua and one-time terrifier of harbor masters. If dockside tales are to be believed,
She smiles briefly through the smoke.
you have not brought much good news of late.
Her pensive look returns.
So, in addition to pirates, profiteers, and slavers, the Deadfire has a vengeful god roaming its waters?
She bites down harder on her pipe. That's about the shape of it.
Just what the archipelago needs. One more disaster tugging at the seams. He must be stopped.
She halts, turning to you to face you. You're finally able to get a good look at her. She's not especially large for an Omoa, but she carries her shoulders high. Her weathered face looks to have seen many storm-blown and sun-beaten days on deck, yet her eyes are sharp and keen. That's why I came to you all at the palace. She waves a hand dismissively.
If there were help to be found at the palace, do you think Deadfire would be such a mess? The Valians won't lift a finger if it isn't to snatch a coin, and the Huana will barely do that much.
No? Tell it to the water shapers who washed your stranded boats from sandbars, Hazanui.
Success in trade has been quite elusive for the Rauataians, but the bitterness suits you well.
No one takes charge to solve the big problems. But perhaps we could work together to our mutual benefit.
Takes the pipe in her left hand. As she does, you notice that her right is unusually still. Perhaps we could.
Look around. Deadfire's full of fertile, temperate islands. Except for Andra's mortar. It's largely free of rough weather.
She waves her right hand and you notice again that her fingers remain strangely still. You realize it's an unusually fine prosthetic.
Yet much of it is uninhabited. Itinerant tribes drift between some of the islands, and smugglers and slavers cluster around the rest.
She shakes her head.
It's a waste. Imagine what this place could be, with well-guarded shipping routes. How many Rauataians we could feed with plantations here.
What does that have to do with me?
You've got a way of charging into things full speed. Some might call it reckless, but I consider it valuable. If you're chasing the god who's stomping this place into the ground, then we have a common goal. And if you're going to survive here, then you could use an ally.
A hint of a smile tucks her lips from her tar-stained teeth. What do you have in mind?
The disaster at Hasongo remains a key concern. We rely on the port there to ship food back to Rauatai.
She sucks on her pipe, hiding her worried expression behind a cloud of smoke.
That's on hold until you investigate. Short of that, there are other matters that demand attention. Atsura, our Grand Secretary, has a plan that would make use of your unusual talents. His office is downstairs. He can tell you more.
What happened to your hand? He extends her arm, holding the prosthetic between you. An exquisite piece, with reinforced joints in each of the fingers and a smooth sanded finish.
It happened a year into my first command. We were chasing pirates along Rawatai's south coast, and they landed a shot right next to our magazine. A lucky hit.
He's quiet for a moment.
I ran below. The fire was already spreading and making for our powder stores. I smothered what I could with my uniform, pulled the rest away with my own hands.
If you hadn't, you and your crew would probably have died. He nods.
We don't get to choose our challenges, do we? Just the way we meet them. There's a cost to every victory, and the win goes to those willing to make a sacrifice.
Considers the wooden hand, turning it in the light. You sense satisfaction in her gaze.
I'll bet you already know a thing or two about that. And if you don't, Deadfire will teach you soon enough.
What's the game board for?
Hazatoa. Atsura and I usually have a game running, and this one's been going on for over a month and a half. Atsura's good at misdirection, but I've got a mind for the long game. You look like you've come with a purpose.
Oh, what? Okay, let's head downstairs, talk to this guy.
I've got it.
They weren't that bad.
Rhyming Hazanui with kablooey?
I can't think of anything else that goes with Hazanui.
Like below the coral reads, as we shape coral, so shall we shape
neither.
nations in victory.
That's why I
Ranganui.
leave epics to the lore college.
The man behind the desk regards you with attentive, unblinking eyes and a perfectly open expression. Smooth features make it hard to pinpoint his age, though the crinkles at the corners of his eyes suggest he is not especially young. He cocks his head, taking your measure. He pauses before speaking, just a little longer than seems normal. When he finally does, he crosses his forearms over his chest and gives you a slow, exquisite, courteous nod. The whole gesture is so perfectly choreographed that it seems he must have practiced it many times.
Watcher Nui, the Lord of Cadnua.
Gives you a sleek half smile that reveals a row of perfect pointed teeth. In his careful stare and a pause before he speaks, you recognize that he's studying you.
I'm not one for ostentation, but your remarkable display at Queen's birth suggests that you are an individual with skills, not mere style.
Who are you?
I am Atsura, Grand Secretary of the Royal Deadfire Company.
Sounds like a significant title, but he's strangely emotionless. He might as well be describing the color of his clothing. Cut to the chase. What do you want with me?
You are direct. I appreciate that.
Tilts his head and blinks as if considering you anew.
The demand for luminous Adra has sent the Valian Trading Company into a frenzy. Their expeditions grow too bold, and their officers too greedy.
He puckers his lips as though at a lack of discretion at a dinner party.
Worse, their rapid expansion attracts pirates and threatens the outlying Juana tribes. This risks souring the Kahanga royals against all foreign involvement.
Inclines his head like he's about to let you in on a secret.
But you can curtail their growth.
This isn't about the welfare of the Deadfire, this is about them outpacing you.
By snapping up land we need to grow food and build ships for our people? Indeed. But our interests and Deadfire's are not mutually exclusive.
He interlaces his long, well-manicured fingers.
The Valians have sent an expedition to Pococahara, a storm-wrecked island believed to house a vein of luminous. I hear you accomplished an incredible feat in restoring the luminous Adra near Port Mage.
He appraises you again with those unblinking eyes.
If your abilities allow you to do that, then perhaps you are also capable of the opposite. Find the luminous Adra at Pococahara. Render it unusable to the Valians. This should encourage them to develop the resources they have, rather than reaching for more.
Eyebrows rise a degree, both a request and an invitation. Why would I help you?
Because governors like Clario are a rare breed. Most of the Valian administrators care little for the well-being of the Huana. If the Valians claim Pococahara, it is the locals who will truly suffer.
Let's just say I don't tell the Valians about this.
For all their faults, they don't lack imagination. I'm confident they know of our intentions.
We'll see.
Deadfire is a tumultuous place. Consider the value of an ally with ships, cannons, and the backing of a great empire.
Gives you a soothing smile.
I do not have the precise location of Pococahara, but the tribe on the nearby island of Tikawara could probably help. I suggest starting there.
Circles a small, out-of-the-way island on your map.
Now, what else can I do for you?
What exactly is the Brass Citadel? He hesitates, looking at you as if the answer is obvious.
It's a trading post, of course.
Your trading post has high walls, cannons, and guard towers?
Anything worth building is worth protecting.
You seem different from the rest of the Royal Deadfire Company.
How do you mean that?
His eyes are attentive and utterly expressionless. Alpha Luna, thank you for the follow. Hello there. You are hard to read.
It comes from years of practice. It's the only way I've learned to beat Karanui at Hazatoa.
Farewell.
Criticism is easier than creation.
Okay, not sure about this guy. Not sure about this whole company. I don't know if you want to get involved with them. Food-stained Tolly sheets tucked beneath this battlefield model suggest it's been used for recreational purposes. All of this is considered stealing. Well.
I've got it.
Someone has posted an earnest but excruciating attempt at epic poetry. A few stray bitter squash seeds are tucked under the pillow.
What did you find, is she?
These rifles look perfectly maintained and ready for use at a moment's notice.
On it.
Most of these papers are letters to home. Almost all praise Deadfire's weather.
Keeping quiet.
Ooh. Okay. We are done here. Speak to Fascina, yeah, when we get back there. And we also take a look at Gullet. We haven't been there yet. And Queen's Birth, there's still some things to do there. But let's head to the Gullet first. Or actually, I don't know what's the shortest way to the Gullet. Wait, let's head down there. Take a look around here at this
Sails unfurled and sword held high.
officer's lounge.
Battle for glory and Rautai.
Someone named Pero is trouncing his opponent at
She
Hasatoa.
respects that.
I don't think she likes me.
The notice
my
reads,
career
service
escorting
reserved for
foreign
officers
ships."
of the Royal
Many
Deadfire
have.
Company.
She's got
If this
nothing
is
against
about the
scramble roots.
Hasatoa tournament,
but
I've
don't
got nothing to do with that, alright? I just serve the drinks.
He holds up his hands with the exhausted resignation of a man who's made his case many times. What's this about Hasatoa?
Some of the soldiers and sailors get to making unwise bets when they play.
He rolls his eyes.
Like I said, I keep out of it. None of the regulars are looking for new opponents, though, if that's what you're asking. All the better for you, trust me.
Why do you work for the Royal Deadfire Company?
They always pay on time. They're run by the Ronganui, so they should, right?
He grins.
Also, I'm from a town near Tekoa. Rautai's full of all kinds of kith, not just Amawa. But the Amawa have a long history at sea. They make up a lot of sailors and soldiers, including most of the ones that ended up here.
He nods at vaguely at the bar. Like to order something.
You're a captain working for the Royal Deadfire Company, right? Sure you are. Even if you're not, I've heard your name enough to think you are.
He winks.
Try the razor skewers, if you can handle the heat.
Smirks and challenge. Booze. Oh, candied nuts. No, thank you. Cargo manifest shows saltpeter received from raw Rautai and raw foodstuffs. Shipped back.
My ship out with some soft-handed runt.
Orland Peddler.
I've got all sorts of goods and supplies. Take a look before you head back out.
Why are you working at Rautai Outpost?
Because I'm from Rauatai. Or, to be more specific, my ancestral home's been part of the Empire for decades. Few generations now.
How did your homeland become part of Rauatai?
The usual way, I guess. Their soldiers beat ours.
He shrugs. Doesn't that bother you? He glances around to see if anyone is in earshot.
I guess it used to. When I was younger, I grew up hearing stories of the time before from my grandparents. But they were children themselves when Rauatai took over.
Frowns at you thoughtfully.
Some wax romantic about the old days. Anyways, I'm just trying to make a living. That's why I'm here, after all.
What's it like living under Rauataian rule?
I don't know. I never known anything else. We've got the Rauataians' fancy new irrigation canals now, and the roads have gotten better. The ones leading into Tekoa, anyhow.
Pauses, lost in thought and smirks.
Funny thing is, the further you go on them, the nicer everything gets, and the more it all looks like this.
He nods at the stone walls and towers. Let's go back to business.
That's a better subject.
Let's see what you have for
Take
sale.
a look.
+2 to might, okay. Fleet Masters. A mania.
Come to gawk, too? My punishment's over, you know.
Looks away and crosses her arms carefully to hide her burned hands. Why were you holding a red-hot cannonball? Glances back at you, a look of defiance in her eye.
I punched my captain.
Atta girl.
It's as if the mere mention of the incident takes her back to it. Her face darkens with anger, and the bitter snarl transforms her features.
Though maybe he shouldn't have insulted my aim. Like I don't know the difference between a smooth and rifled bore.
She shakes her head, quietly stewing. What are you going to do now?
I'm not reporting back to Wakoyo, that's for sure. I crewed on mercenary ships before this. Come to think of it, that suited me better.
Grins impishly.
Still a scramble-root at heart, I guess. But I'm plenty experienced. Maybe I'll see if anyone's looking for an expert cannoneer.
I could use an experienced cannoneer on my crew. He looks you up and down, considering the offer.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I only crew with captains I know. Either personally or by reputation.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're capable, but I don't know enough about you. Yet.
Her eyebrow quirks up in hopeful suggestion.
Let's talk again when you've made a name for yourself.
Okay, we're going to note this. Write it down, write it down. Emani. Notes. A new one. Oh, wait, what? Crewmates. Nikitaka. Oop. Brass. Citadel. Mainly. Expert cannoneer. Fleet Master Wakoyo. Description reads, that which grows is strengthened. The Corum Mason taught.